Charlotte Soccer Show. John Hayes, Danny Brams. Sunday evening, we're live here on YouTube, and it's great to see you, Danny.
Great to be seen, John. Something new. A historic day for Charlotte FC and Crown Legacy FC playing their inaugural match, and history for the Charlotte Soccer Show here in episode number 75. We are live on YouTube. Pretty cool. Good to see you, man.
It's a 1-1 draw, and I've got a ton to talk to you about after this match on Saturday night. Enzo Capetti, a huge talking point. Nathan Byrne. I mean, right in front of you, Danny. I mean, he had to do that right in front of you after the rant.
So
been on this show.
I always go to exactly, and I always go down to the Lowe's tap room in the 42nd minute. 42 is like one of my favorite numbers, based on the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. It's the answer to life, the universe, and everything. If you know that, if you know, you know. So 42, I love. So I always go down and get my beer early in the 42nd minute. It's kind of my personal ritual. And I'm on the steps. I'm like walking down the steps, to start that track. And it happened when I was on the landing, looking out over the field. It happened right in front of me. And you're the one that tweeted that from at For the Crown Baby, our show account. But I don't know how you knew, because it literally happened right in front of me. Utterly insane. And I thought it I was like, that is a fucking foul, man. Come on.
Byrne just got out muscled, man. He when you watch it back, he just bounced off them he bounced off a pinball machine. And we're not gonna look at that. But what we want to do is we want to see some comments. We want to talk to some folks. What's up, Matthew Barbie in the house? Cheers to you, Greg Franco in the house as well. Appreciate y'all watching live.
Elevation Jones got first. That's great. I always, whenever I jump on any live stream, by the way, even if I'm not first, I always comment first. So I love to see that tradition, that internet tradition continue. Great job.
It's our first 2 comments on a live stream, so you got to share them. That's how this works.
Exactly.
That's how this works. My number one topic this evening, Danny, to chat with you about is Enzo Capetti. He, in my opinion, is the lightning rod player of the fan base. I would rank him maybe 1A and 1B with Christian Lattanzio, and I'd put Christian Lattanzio as maybe number 2 on that list. And it's a huge conversation. Where do you stand? Where do you stand on Enzo Capetti? His antics last night stood out, right?
Right.
And
it stands out.
And Charlotte FC doesn't score a goal without him, because if you look back at the own goal, the reason why there was an own goal, because Capetti had a sitter and was about to finish a goal. That's why the defender had no other choice besides to put it in his own net. So, in my mind, it's a Capetti goal last night. And
the own goal, 100%. Capetti was there for the tap in. That was a beautiful play. Yeah, we'll talk about that later. Right. I totally agree with you there. Yeah, that won't count in his stat sheet, but I trust Enzo would have finished that for sure.
So, what's your takeaway? He's a lightning rod in the fan base right now, because his antics last night on the pitch were undeniably one of the stars of the occasion. The conversation with the ref, right? Yeah. His asking for fouls, staying down on the pitch. And there was a lot of conversation last night amongst fans, and appropriately so, about the New York Red Bulls. I thought that one of the most ridiculous things about the match, Danny, was that there was only 5 minutes of added time. There was a good 10-minute window from 55 until 65, where there was literally maybe 90 seconds of play. There's 7 extra minutes right there alone. And I said before we went into that extra time, I said, hey, if this is anything less than 6, that's pretty egregious. And it was 5. I thought Charlotte FC got a raw deal on Saturday night. I thought it should have been a 2-1 win. And credit to New York Red Bulls for being the bastards that they are. Danny.
The shithouse kings, can I just say? Please. That's what they do.
Fuck them.
Exactly. Bring it on. They really pissed me off, man. They're constantly fouling. They pissed me off more on the rewatch, probably, even than when I was able to see from the stands. I watched the game back again this morning, and I was like, God, these guys just pissed me off so bad. And I don't know. I think Enzo, to get to the topic though that you asked about, Enzo is He's gonna drive me to drinking, man. What can I say? I'm drinking. I'm back. I'm back on the Malbec now. Speaking of everyone's favorite Argentinian, and
oh, it's a nice Malbec, the red on a Sunday evening.
Yeah, the eccentric from Argentina, pretty good, pretty spicy. I gotta say, but just like Enzo, I mean, it's every single time. That's again goes back to my rewatch, like watching him just be so animated toward the ref all the time. To me, it just like that puts you in a bad position with the refs. That's why I just think it's like not very strategic. You know what I'm saying? Like I think you get that boy who cried wolf effect. We brought it up on before, and it's like, man, they are not going to give you anything if you're asking for everything. It's like, if that makes sense, like let's be judicious here and let's try to work these refs a little more in terms of using timing of when you have an outburst that like actually means something. I don't know. It's just like when it's over and over and over again, I'm not going to criticize him as like, if that's how he is, that's who he is. I mean, I'm just saying it doesn't work. That's all. I'm just saying it doesn't work.
I like this comment from Jonathan. Danny, I love this comment. Tough to watch that first half. And I agree. Walk away believing that Charlotte FC deserved to win. But yeah, Red Bull's antics were embarrassing. Let's talk about that first half. That's why I wanted to bring up that comment, right? Because
tale of two halves.
The first half was a lot of Charlotte FC possession, Danny, but it was a lot of meaningless possession.
Yeah. The possession in our own defensive third, pretty just passing back and forth between the back line for sure.
Why does it have to be that way, and why does it take until late in the match to put a interest in going forward? A huge, I think, discussion point coming out of this match as well, Danny, is Vinny Mello. Vinny Mello all of a sudden comes in and he changes the match drastically. Is what he did. Vinny Mello is somebody that you have to think about as potentially a player that could inspire this team to go even further up the table than we dreamed of to start the season at 5 or 6. I've got no issues here with 4 points, Danny. Tell me about Vinny Mello. I'm feeling good on this Sunday night, man. Like this is not a heartbreaking draw. This is a pick up a point and move on with your life.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. I actually totally agree with that big picture that you're saying as far as unbeaten in Crown Jewel. That's why I had that as the title of the episode, is because we didn't lose. That's one of the things I texted some friends as I was walking out of the arena. We didn't lose. Like that was kind of my takeaway. And that's progress, unfortunately, in a game that has seen 2 home losses before this already, in a season that's seen 2 home losses before this. But you talk about the last 10 minutes, you talk about Vinny Mello coming in, the original Prince that was promised. Nice comment from Keegan McDowell there. That's funny that Keegan comments that, because I thought that as well. I was like, man, we gave Enzo Prince that was promised, and maybe it was actually Vinny the whole time. But the old, I can't remember. I think it's a Saturday Night Live riff making fun of like Seinfeld type comedians. I don't think Jerry said this himself, but it's like a quasi Seinfeldian riff of like, why don't they make the whole plane out of the black box? If the black box survives any crash, why don't they make the whole plane out of it? Like, if we don't play the last 10 minutes, if we just played the way we did the last 10 minutes, then the whole game, then we would have won it going away like 3-1 or something like that. So it's like that attacking verve in the final 10, 15 minutes, when Vinny came on, when Kerwin Vargas has the ball and is like in an attacking third, that was another big thing. And, shout out to Lloyd Sam, who was calling the game. Like, he identified this, and I'm stealing his take because it's so good, which is just like, Kerwin Vargas was forced to play in this kind of 4-5-1 formation that we had as like almost more of a wing back than a full wing.
So is Vinny, by the way. Vinny
his runs were starting. Yeah, their runs are starting in our defensive third, and they have to go a long way to get into attacking position before then they can maybe do something with it. I don't know. Like, Nuno Santos made a couple of nice runs through traffic for sure. And we can talk about that in a second, but I don't know if we want those guys playing that hardcore back so regularly, especially against New York Red Bulls, who were a pressing team. I get it. So like, you want to have like everyone ready to help out on the press for sure. A few extra bodies further back. I get it, but it's just like,
show us the 4-5-1. Show us the 4-5-1.
Okay. Yeah. Let's get a little screen share action. Yeah. And here we go. Talk about it.
This was it, Danny. I mean, this is I wasn't surprised to see this after the match, that there was a Enzo Capetti lone striker formation because he was looking for balls over the top. He played fantastically when it came to hold up play. He was doing everything in the center of the pitch, and Derek Jones had his back. I thought Derek Jones had a really nice game. Nuno Santos with a 7.3 rating. That's really strong. But either way, the reason why I asked you to bring this up, Danny, with the yellow, the reason why I asked you to bring this up is because I just wanted to showcase exactly what you were talking about when it came to Kerwin Vargas on the left-hand side. He was more so in a wing-back position than he was a forward position. And same thing with Oren McKenzie Gaines, the second, at the bottom of your screen. OMG 2. He was in that wide position as well. So you look at that situation, Danny, and you say to yourself, like, Enzo needs some support here. He can't just be by himself at the top of the pitch. Whose heat map is that?
This is Gaines. So I'm just bringing up a couple of heat maps here to illustrate the points. And you see Gaines getting a few things done. The heat map I really want to bring up, you mentioned his name, and Derek Jones has got it going on. This right here, that where Mouse is at, is Derek Jones. Look at him. He's like in all four quadrants of the field. He's got red heat. He's just like making stuff happen all throughout the midfield. I think that's a really great one. What do you think? Anybody else you want to see? You want to see Vargas's heat map?
As far as
illustrate what we're talking about?
Yeah, exactly.
See, look at how much red is behind halfway line. Sorry for all the zoom in and out here.
It's not even about the halfway mark, Danny. It's about the width. It's about where he's spending his time. He's a wing back in that role. That's a wing back role that he's playing. And Vinny Mello, when he came into his when he came into the match as well in that wing back role. Here's was Vinny's right side by side. Not far
Look at
enough
Vinny's,
up the pitch. It's not far enough up the pitch. It's not far enough inside that. If you think about the pitch, Danny, in three quadrants, right? You think about it, the wing, the central area, and the left area. He's exclusively in the right wing area of the pitch. There's no movement inside the box. We need to get him up and inside the box to make an impact. And the same thing with Kerwin Vargas. Enzo Capetti is left on an island by himself with no support. They're just bombing it at him, and he's doing the best that he can, but he has no one around to make connecting passing to. And I think Jorge Torres,
here's Enzo's map,
did a nice job of calling out, Nuno did a good job to replace Westwood, but I feel like not having the gemstone was impactful, and I think that's correct as far as like a connecting point of view. And Enzo's heat map is all over the place, right? He's doing hold up play in all of those areas of the pitch, right? He is effective everywhere in both corners. He's got spots in the box. Those really deeper orange like areas, Danny. Those are places where he had a really great game. So I led the show with Enzo, and I just wanted to point out that this guy is doing exactly what the manager is asking him to do, and we just need to get the manager to maybe give him some support.
Yeah, I mean he has 0 shots. We don't like that, but he was making accurate passes. 36 touches, maybe not enough. I think we maybe want to see that like a north side of 50. He makes a key pass, and like the one thing that I'm really liking about Enzo, just to go back on him a little bit, is that he plays well within a team concept. Like all his antics with the referees and all like that doesn't make him a bad teammate per se. It's a little annoying maybe to some some personalities, but like he works well with a team. He's trying to create passes. He's not like a selfish striker that's just like, I want my goals, give me my goals. I'm standing in the box, get me the ball. Like he does want the ball, but he also thinks within a team concept well enough, and he makes key passes. He makes things happen. He kind of like sees his teammates around him. There's so much like I've never gonna like get mad at Enzo's game right at this point, but I just want to see just a little more discernment and like thinking about like what if you're gonna yell at the referee, what are you trying to get out of it, and where can you where's it actually gonna help you? That's all.
It's a big conversation, Danny, and the reason why is because if you were there and if you kind of saw exactly what Enzo Capetti was doing every time the whistle was blown, you'd be very well aware that he has a flair for the dramatic. I'm here to tell you, I love it. I thought that Enzo Capetti was the heartbeat of Charlotte FC last night. I thought that without him at the number 9 position, I think this team would have been horrible.
How about our guy Byron Ryan throwing up his take on Enzo here? Enzo's been a center forward too much, not a striker. If he doesn't play striker, you need someone there to do it, a la Joseph Martinez. Enzo could be that type of player. Let the other guys get you the ball. I mean,
oh wait, we have that person on the team. We have that person on the team. We have that person. His name's Karol Swiderski, and that's the partnership. That's the partnership. Right. Karol and Enzo need to be working off of one another, and that's why I think the 4-4-2 could be the answer here. Like if Christian Lattanzio wants to have if Christian Lattanzio wants to have players wide, right? If Lattanzio wants to have players wide, then do it with a 4-4-2 formation and have 2 players up top, because you can't have Enzo on an island in that 4-5-1. He can't get anything done in a 4-5-1.
We've been saying it. We've been saying it, man.
Play a 4-5-1.
Look how deep he had to live. He had to, just from the heat map, he had to live the whole time in that thing. And Lattanzio, he definitely defended most of his decisions in his post-game press conference. Everyone was ripping on Byrne. We can get to Byrne and maybe mea culpa a little bit of some of the anger that I had against him last night immediately in the aftermath. But he definitely, Lattanzio, one of his quote was something along the lines of, Byrne had a great game. The mistake will cloud people's reaction to how he played, and that's unfortunate. But I thought he was the perfect guy to have in this role against Red Bulls for the way they play, and I have no qualms about the decision to put him as a center back. So,
how about this comment from Matthew Gleslin? Fine to have Jalen and Alpha flying up the wings, but to John's point, you need Melo and Vargas and more of a central to play as a 1-2 and breaking defenses with exactly. That's the point that I'm trying to make, and I think Matt brings up the great point. Is other people are supposed to be doing that work on the wings in that formation. That's what your fullbacks are for. You have 4 at the back. And for some reason, Lattanzio wants those fullbacks to play more centrally. And I'm just no, man, and it's because he wants cover, I think, potentially for his center backs, who, by the way, we should get into the Nathan Byrne center back discussion.
It's time. Yeah.
So what was your reaction when you saw that decision to start at center back, and is it something that you understood at the moment, or?
Well, I had heard that he had been practicing at center back. I heard that training was going on, that he was sort of trying to adapt to that role in training in the week. I heard that late in the week, and so that kind of made me think that it could happen. I didn't think that necessarily it would, except I knew that there weren't a whole ton of other options. I actually thought it was going to be DJ. I thought DJ would be the center back. And it turned out to be Byrne. And I don't think he played bad. In the immediate aftermath last night, I was like, man, Byrne cost us again. The guy screwed us again, and I was thinking all this bad stuff. And then I rewatched the game, and I saw, and I heard Lattanzio defend him. So I was like, okay, let's watch this with new eyes. Obviously saw, better comprehension. Let's say I was having a good time last night. Let's put it for real, for sure. I was drinking on an empty stomach early in the afternoon. So it happened. But in the cold, hard light of day with my hangover guilt that hit hard, I started to think maybe I was harsh on Byrne, even mentally. And he made some nice plays. He saved 2 potential chances. He cut off 2 potential chances with nice slide tackles and good brainy coverage. He was communicating. He was yelling at guys. He was making himself adapt to a role of center back. And it's Christian Fuchs was an outside back that went to the center back when he got a little older in his career. And it's a move that guys make for sure. A lot of times, a fullback, someone who's been a fullback or a wing back their entire career, as they get on the other side of 30, they might start that transition to convert over to a center back. You never know. So I don't think that's his long-term destiny necessarily for this club. But I think what Lattanzio, if I'm trying to put myself in CL Laddie Daddy's head of why he said that quote about Byrne having the perfect things to go for Red Bulls, and it's just because with the Red Bull pressure and the way they are always trying to press, it helps to have some brains in there. You got Malanda, who's a kid. You got Lindsay, who's a kid. Let's put some veteran brains with this squad. As much as I think Sobocinski could have been maybe a little bit of better pure center back in that role or whatever like that. You can't put like 3 20-year-olds, on your back line either against a team that does the high press. So I don't know. They did have old man Affle, obviously, and he wore the captain's armband. And shout out to Harrison Affle, who showed up with great acclaim today at the Crown Legacy inaugural match. That was really fun. Maybe we can get into that in a little bit later. But yeah, the backline issues. I get why Byrne was in there. I'm not too mad at him. He made the big mistake, and I did think it was a foul, and I still think it was a foul. You're right; it bounced off of the attacker, Elias Manuel, but and Manuel is like a lot bigger than him, so it's not. That's sometimes they did repeatedly comment like, oh, he looks small for a center back out there, Affle, the TV crew, but like I don't know. I'm just rambling here at this point. What do you think?
First thing is like the first thing I think is that you were at the Crown Legacy match today. I do want to hear about that, and we will talk about that. But the second thing I think about Nathan Byrne is that he's somebody that was put in that position because of the press, right? He was put there to just like move the ball around. He was put there to have possession and be able to break out of the Red Bull press. I think if Charlotte FC played anybody else in MLS on Saturday, he wouldn't have started at center back.
Agreed.
That's why that first half was so boring, because Nathan Byrne was just passing it around the back half, and you can't blame him for that. But progressive passing is something that you can talk about. And we've got a ton of comments coming. I want to get to them.
Sure.
And I think and Geslin comes back and he says DJ is built for a center, is a center back, and I don't disagree with that. And we've got Keenan McDonald checking in, says those inverted fullbacks don't suit the squad, and that's something that for some reason we keep seeing on the pitch is like these Harrison. When I see Harrison Affle in a place that is dangerous, he's like inverted in the channel with the ball moving forward. He's not wide looking for something to whip into the box. Like he's not making anything happen there. And Jalen Lindsay on the other side of the pitch. I mean, let's take the backline issues topic bar down here, Danny, because I've got no issue with Jalen Lindsay.
You got okay. We'll take it down. The banner is off. Yeah,
because
I got no issues with Jalen. Yeah,
Jalen's playing
except
great.
for maybe the header that he tried towards the end of the match. You had no issue with that.
Well, it was a big chance he didn't capitalize on, but he also plays right back. He's not a striker, so it's like
that's true.
When your right back has that golden opportunity and doesn't come through with it, you wish that it was your striker in that position instead.
We go back to these heat maps. You look Affle. You talk about the channels there. I mean, he's got a pretty nice red dot there, right on the center circle.
Right.
Here's Byrne. Byrne playing mostly in this sort of a cleanup role, getting a lot of stuff done. Unfortunately, that one little spot right there where he
stayed
pass
home
is a bad one. Yeah, he stayed home. And look how deep Jalen got. I mean, Jalen was making runs.
Oh, there was look at him deep. Oh, he was great. He was pressing so far into the corner there. Danny, you see how you see that red spot deep in the opponent's third?
I see it. I'm staring at it, man. Yeah,
it's unbelievable how good he was down the right hand side, and it's just so nice to see this map to just kind of prove what I was seeing right in front of my face, because I sit right about there between the 18-yard box and the halfway line. So I've got a really nice view of what he was doing in that second half, and he was interchanging. It was him and Vinny Mello down that right hand side. But the reason why you see that deep red in the corner is because he was willing to press. There was a moment where I got up out of my seat and I just gave him a round of applause because his pressing.
I love when you do that.
Was unbelievable.
You've told me about moments like that before, where you just like stand up even if nobody else in the section is standing up, and you just give the standing applause in the club level, which I love to see. Sometimes
Jalen Lindsay was phenomenal, was absolutely phenomenal on Saturday. It's how do you feel about him getting two good games under his belt? He's going to go into this weekend as the starter again. You think
against Toronto? Yeah, I think so. I don't see any reason to take him out at this point. I think he's better in this role than Byrne has been still. So we'll see if Byrne. I think it's back to the bench for Byrne at this point, despite Latanzio saying he played a good game at center back. I think Toronto is actually a team that threatens more on the wings with Bernadeschi. I'm not sure if they'll have Insigne. They do have Jonathan Osorio, who can get stuff done in the middle, and Michael Bradley's, the ghost of Michael Bradley, as I joked last year before they destroyed us. It's not quite the same attack as Red Bull, and I think we'd probably be better suited to just really have a shored up wing defense, like our fullbacks. I think we need Lindsey and Affle there. Affle played really good defense. Affle is so funny, man. He's like they called him. They said teammates have been started calling him Benjamin Button on the squad because he's just as old. He's the old guy on the squad in one level, but he's getting younger and he's getting faster and more resilient. He's got a little bit of Diego Chara in him for sure in terms of just like being able to still can get it done in MLS for a long time at a high level. So I don't know. I don't know where to go with it, but I think that Lindsey has to play. Lindsey has to play for me for sure. It's not even. Here's the deal, though. Here is the deal. I do have to say, I do take a little bit of issue. Lindsey made a couple of mistakes in his. He needs to get a little bit more instinctive, I think, in his offense. There was a spot where early in the match where a ball came, and he did a really good job chasing it down the line against two defenders that were trying to cut him off from it. But he fired like a weak shot at the goalkeeper instead of spotting Nuno Santos for a really nice pullback in a dangerous spot in the box. He was wide open. He missed that pass, and then he had the missed header, and then he also. This isn't really his fault. He showed a nice run for Bronico when Nuno had made this beautiful pass, first time pass. I think in the 77th minute, if people remember the time, and Bronico probably should have passed it to him. And Lindsey, he didn't. There were a couple of spots of offensive execution. He didn't go get the ball in that case. I guess would have been my issue, but. I don't know. I love the kid. He should keep playing. Side note, he went to my daughter's school this past week for a Charlotte FC pep rally they were having at one of the fine CMS institutions, and my daughter said, "Oh yeah, he was cool, I guess." And I was like, "Oh come on, how was it awesome to have a Charlotte FC player talking to you?" She goes, "Yeah, he's a little long-winded." So there you go. That's what the kids are saying.
I want to ask you this question from one of our viewers right now on YouTube. Appreciate you checking us out here. Make sure you check us out on Twitter as well at For the Crown, baby. Curtis Dorian, he says, do we see a role for Uzviak moving forward? Seems to be losing ground as an option on the wing. Give him a look at outside back, look for a sale. I think this question's right up your alley, Danny.
Well, I think he definitely has a role on this team. And if you go to our Twitter handle, at For the Crown Baby on the Old Bird website, you will see a video that I posted from my rewatch of Goodby just playing the tough guy enforcer role when Copetti shoved John Tolkien out of bounds, and then Tolkien threw the ball at Copetti's head, and Uzviak was doing his subs warm up down at the corner flag and back, so he just happened to be in the area, and he kind of bodyguarded. He was the new bouncer basically, and he shoved Tolkien away, and then he pointed at him and he's like, I'm watching you. It's so funny. So go check out that video if you really want to see what I think that UV could best be used. But yeah, it's you can see it's a theme in the comments. Here's Byron Ryan again. Can't really sell Uzviak at this point. Just Uzvi and Shinya only off the bench at this point. So I don't know. We all love Uzvi, but then of course there is the dissenting opinions. Reasonable minds can disagree. We know that Matt Barbie, the unapologetic Uzviak stan, is gonna fight the good fight. If we let Matt have free reign, he will never let this go. He much like Camille is the Polish bulldog. Matt is the Camille defending bulldog on the social media world. It's so fun to watch how he will always make sure to get the last word, and just the conversation can never die. It's pretty funny. So shout out to you, Matt.
We've been live for almost a half an hour now. I feel like we're having a great time on the feed tonight. Appreciate y'all being here on YouTube. You can get this wherever you listen to podcasts as well if you missed anything. And one thing I want to do, Danny, before we get out of here is get your thoughts on the Crown legacy today at Matthews, and want to talk about your experience. It was a 2-2 draw as well. I saw full time.
Yeah.
Tell me about the match.
2-2 draw with just absolute scenes at the end. I'll skip to the key dramatic point, which was just that Crown Legacy scored a stoppage time equalizer. Stoppage time equalizer when all had seemed lost just moments before, especially because Patrick Ajimong had just blown a huge chance that he could have tied it a few minutes earlier. And then our boy Nick Scardina is from out there in Oregon. He balled it out and finished off a great goal to tie it.
I saw the highlight of that.
Yeah, the rule in MLS Next Pro is that they go straight to a shootout. So I think a shootout loss still gives you a point in the table. So you get the point for your draw, but you have a chance to get 3 points via a shootout. So kind of cool. And then you would get 0 if you just lost in regulation. So we got to stick around for a shootout. It was a really cool scene. It was back at the Sportsplex. Like I used to go watch Independence games at the Sportsplex before they moved to Memorial Stadium uptown, which I support the move because I love Memorial Stadium. But Matthews Sportsplex is not bad. It's a good place to go watch a game. Total fun, like family atmosphere, like Sunday afternoon, take your family after church, take them out to the Crown Legacy type game. You can get really close. You can sit front row easily with no issues. The only issue would be like all the kids like hanging over the rails, maybe like blocking your view, and a few angles of flags being waving that might block your view because again, a lot of supporters showed up. People from all the SGs were there. People chanting, all your Charlotte FC celebrities were in the house, as they say, except for a few probably. But the real celebrities were the players on the field. We fielded a squad full of like first teamers, pretty much. I think that was partially specially done for the inaugural game aspect of it. I don't think like Bender and I think Haggard probably has a chance to get some minutes for sure. But even Haggard, I don't think is going to spend a ton of time playing for Crown Legacy. I don't think. But to have those guys like on the pitch, like, new short-haired Bender making all the girls swoon out there for sure. Like it was pretty funny. And Haggard I love Haggard. I just really love Haggard. I love watching him play. And so like he was all the action. He picked up an early yellow card. He was like, just like making it happen and trying back heels and stuff like that. It took me back to watching him play for Independence last year when he dominated USL 1. And so watching those two guys was fun. Sobaczynski was in. This is my first chance to see Hamady Diop. This is my first chance to see some of these drafts that we got. It was really cool. Ajimong is like huge. He's like so just like tall. He still looks young. Like you can tell when you look at his face that he's young, but it's like so funny. Like just how large this guy is a sticker. And like he bully balled a few times. He drew the penalty with a pass. He passed it and defenders had to slide like to cut off his dangerous pass and accidentally handballed. So he was making stuff happen in the box. He like bully balled really late. I mentioned earlier, like he just stole the ball off of a fullback and just like 1v1 with the keeper and unfortunately took the wrong option and didn't off then Armour came in, Brian Romero came in, and I'm missing other guys, but Privet was the captain, as a center defensive mid, another youngster that we picked up, and just like it was cool to see like guys getting minutes. And unfortunately, Armour didn't look that good. Armour had a little bit of a rough go, but he kind of like he took a knock early and was like holding his leg and like and it was kind of like I hope he's okay again moment. Thankfully they're on real grass, so I don't know how the Sportsplex can have real grass, but Bank of America Stadium can't. But that, what can I say? I guess they're managing their lawn care budgets a little better out there in Matthews than they are uptown. So I don't know. It was just a really good time, man. It was cool to watch all these guys playing. Romero was dangerous. Romero liked to do some things. Brandon Cambridge, Brandon Cambridge scored the penalty, and like he was like really dangerous on the wing. I mentioned Scardina. He was like the right back vocal. Jack Neely, the South Mecklenburg high school product, who just signed like a week and a half.
Race back for it. Sends it forward. Headed on. Scardina puts it home. Nick Scardina, the late hero for Crown Legacy. And we're tied at 2 apiece.
Dude,
you mentioned Scardina. That was him.
Long leaner, Vincent the Cleaner. I'm the illest motherfucker from here to Scardina, dude. That's a Beastie Boy lyric from So What You Want that it just always lives in my head. And when I saw this kid's name Scardina, I was like, oh my gosh. So Yeah, and then he scores the equalizing goal. It was scenes, man. It was like limbs, as they say in jolly old England. Like, it was a freaking good time. People were going nuts. It was that feeling. Like, this is like you watch Charlotte FC play and you have a good time, and it's great to see MLS at this and like the American game of soccer played at this like such a high level in a huge stadium. But man, like when you want to feed your soccer soul, you just like go to Independence or Crown Legacy and just like go see the University of Charlotte 49ers play if you want to meet the next Brant Bronico. I don't know, but just like it's fun to like watch a great dramatic soccer game. It sucked to lose the shootout in 6 rounds. Armour had a chance really to sort of put us in the driver's seat, and he went over the bar, so that sucked. But what can I say? It was a great day.
Yeah, that's
day.
brutal. I don't take the shootout stuff seriously. I don't even like consider it a
it's a 2-2 draw for you. We got a point. It's a 1-point Sunday.
Yeah, 100%. Absolutely right. 1-point Sunday, and shout out to the Independents, by the way, and a great win on the road at the South Georgia Tormenta.
Avenged last year's playoff
Saturday
loss.
Night. Exactly. Yeah. They won the championship last year, so they go down there on the road. They get their first 3 points of the year on the road at South Georgia on Saturday night. It was nice to see that. I actually, after the match at the Keat on Saturday, I took the walk all the way back to Parlor Room and got to Parlor Room and got to see the Independents take care of business in the last 10 minutes. Austin Pack came up with some good saves. And it was one of those things where it's like, last weekend the Independents got 1 point and Charlotte FC picked up the slack, got us to 4, and this weekend Charlotte FC got the draw, and then the Independents made sure that they got the 3. So I'm here to say anything better than 3 points on a single day for both of those squads is good in my book. And then when it comes to the shootout, I don't know how many points gets involved there. Is there points involved after the shootout? Do you get any points if you lose the shootout?
You get one. Yeah. You get 1 point. Yeah. So you get 1 point for a shootout loss and 3 points for a shootout win, as I understand it, and 0 points for a regular time loss.
3 points for a shootout win sounds like a
maybe it's only 2. Maybe it's only 2. I'm not sure. I could be wrong about that. Yeah.
Share the 3, 2 and 1. Share the 3, 2 and 1. That's
it. Yeah, that could be it. To be honest, they didn't explain that at the thing. I didn't even know that Legacy still got a point until I saw later. Like I saw something after I got home on the internet that said, we save a point despite whatever. So Scardina saved a point. That's all I'm going to say. Scardina saved a point as far as I'm concerned.
Speaking of points, Geslin's okay. Matthew Barbie says only 2 points.
Thank you, Matt. That makes sense. Share the 3. Thanks for clearing that up for us.
Matthew Geslin as well. Good, great. 5 out of 9 on the weekend. Not terrible. Could have easily been 6 or 7, and it emphasizes the.
That's a winning record. 5 out of 9.
The point. So yeah. So I hope everyone.
Shout out Brandon Davis also, who's a great tifos. Also is.
I hope everybody.
The tifos take care of us, baby. Like we don't know if it's 3 or 2. That's where we keep these folks around because they're such great people. Help us out. Thank you.
Yeah. It's the Charlotte Soccer Show. I'm John Hayes. He's Danny Brams. It's been a fun Sunday evening. It's been great seeing you, Danny. Always nice hanging out with you after a match day on Saturday. And we've got a big week ahead and a big match. And we're going to talk about it on the show this week. We're going to preview the match this weekend against Toronto.
Thirsty Thursday at EPR.
It's an away day, Danny. It's tough to go north of the border. And to this point, just off the top of my head, it doesn't feel like I don't think Charlotte FC has gotten any, and still no points north of the border.
We got waxed by Montreal and Toronto last year up there. Yeah.
So,
remember we sent like the skeleton crew to Montreal, and like nobody like all the great unvaccinated population couldn't handle the rules. I guess.
That's my point. We're still looking for our first points north of the border. So we'll talk about that later this week. We'll answer some Tifos questions. Thanks to all of you who have been commenting during the show this evening. Yes. Appreciate you having some fun with us on a Sunday evening. We'll make sure that we do this again. I really enjoyed it.
As always, man. And it's for the crown, baby.
Cheers.